Hello, I'm Malcolm Haslett. Have you caught up with Recipe for Love, the modern combination of a cooking and dating show? Well, in the next half hour, we'll be talking with the two producers about where this recipe for the show came from and their amazing careers. That's next on Our Time. And welcome to Our Time. It's really interesting that in this day of television, we're constantly bombarded with cooking shows because they're just all over the place. I don't eat that much food, but no one's ever thought to combine a dating show and a cooking show together until Marion and Georgia got together and came up with this brilliant idea. And they're our special guests. So please welcome Marion Pilowsky and Georgia Humphreys.
Thank you for having us, Malcolm.
Marion, Georgia. Marion, Georgia.
Yes, Georgia, me.
So you have a background in film and television and you have a background in food. So before we actually talk about the show, let's talk about you.
Great, love to talk about me.
Don't we all?
And our amazing careers.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, let's start with your amazing career because you weren't born in Australia to start with.
No, I have the classic Australian story of being the English migrant.
Not a 10-pound pom, surely.
Close. I'm married to a 10-pound pom.
Oh, okay.
Actually, yes.
There you go.
But my family came here, I think it was on the Oriana. We were talking about this the other day.
Goodness, I remember that, the Oriana.
Yes.
You could cruise the world on the Oriana.
Exactly.
No cruising lately.
No. Well, it was fine then, and I do remember the little swimming pool and a little voice that would say, "Children's breakfast is now being served," which must have been lovely for the parents back in the day, where you didn't,
right.
they separated you, seen and not heard.
Yes. Hasn't that changed?
Totally.
That's the truth. Hasn't that changed?
So we came out in, I'm trying to remember now, 67 maybe, to Sydney. And I lived there for 6 years and then moved to...
Working out how old you are now.
I'm 58.
Oh.
And then moved to... That's fine. I'm happy to confess it. Because in the repeats, nobody knows that when this is repeated, I'll be 58 forever.
There you go.
It'll be great.
And I'm 37 and dyslexic.
So, then we moved to Adelaide in, I think I was 9. But I do have something to ask you because I was one of the people who always went ice skating on Saturday morning on Hindley Street.
Oh, right.
Back in the day. If you live in Adelaide, yes.
Okay, but I didn't.
Oh, okay. But you were an ice skater, right?
Oh, I have skated, yes.
Oh, okay.
I was lucky enough to work with Torval and Dean and the Moscow Circus on ice.
Wow.
They're two of them. But this is about you, not about me.
Okay, well, that's more exciting probably. But anyway, we'll ask you afterwards.
Yes, exactly. There are many stories. But your stories, so you ended up here in Adelaide and then...
And then I moved to London.
Because?
I think I fell in love. Yes, moved to London, with a boy. And I got a job as a scheduler of television signals when the UK used to have contribution television signals, pre-digital.
Right.
And then I started working for Pay TV. And then later I returned to Sydney. We lived in Sydney and I worked for a movie channel. And then I went back to London, as you do, back and forth, where I worked for Universal and Paramount and DreamWorks, who owned a international distribution arm, I guess. And I worked in development and production. And then I went independent and started Corner Table Productions.
And that's the production company that you formed together?
Well,
you started?
I started it in London in 2005, I think it was.
Oh, right, okay.
And then I came back to Adelaide in 2012.
Because you were sitting at a table on the corner
with all
your papers and you thought, there's a name.
Well, I love a corner table in a restaurant. I really like it.
Oh, okay.
Then when I met Georgia and she said, you do that because it's what the mafia do, so nobody can shoot you, right? And
I always have your back to the wall.
Yes, well, that's true.
That never occurred to me, but the millennial tells me,
I'm just
yes,
checking
exactly.
that I'm safe here.
My millennial partner tells me that that's, subconsciously why I chose, Corner Table Productions as the name. And then Georgia came on board.
So name drop a couple of the movies you've worked on.
I produced a film called Sleuth with Michael Caine and Jude Law. And I was a producer on Being Julia with Annette Bening. I did a film called My Last 5 Girlfriends, which was a...
Story of my life.
Sorry, why did I laugh so loudly at that? That was cruel. But yes, I've done some film in the past, quite a bit.
So your knowledge of production
Yeah.
was suddenly married to your knowledge of food. Now, I'm fascinated with your story. I don't know where to start with you. Can we start in Rome?
Sure. Well, I moved to Rome when I was 18 to be a nanny, and that only lasted a year, thank God. And I got into the tourist industry there. I mean, lots of expats do. That they want to stay and they don't, want to come home.
I suppose it's a good way to see the things that the general public wouldn't get to see in a sort of way, because you need to know what you're talking about.
Well, you
Do
see,
they give you exclusive entry into all of the?
You can, yeah, but
special
you normally
things?
have to pay extra for it.
Okay.
But
I can't believe that in Rome.
I mean, you have to. It's a way for you to see what the general public don't, but you also see all the tourist spots over and over and over again. And
The Colosseum's so boring.
well,
Yes.
it's not boring, but you certainly take it for granted when you're living there. That's for sure.
But isn't that the truth wherever we live?
So
we
true.
take it for granted.
Yeah.
So,
But it was great fun.
So you were dealing with the public taking people around. You
Mm-hmm.
didn't create any proposals of marriage or anything on the way, did you?
No, I did not.
Okay.
No, absolutely not.
So tell me about the restaurants that you've looked after and managed.
I've actually I've not had that much experience in managing cafes, but I owned one, and that's how I actually met Marion.
Well, that's the same.
So when I came back to Australia,
Was she sitting in the corner table?
she used to sit in the table actually that was closest to the counter to talk to us.
That's true.
Because she loves a chat. And we became friends.
So, okay, the two of you are sitting in the cafe
Mm-hmm.
and you say, oh, did you see the whatever last night on the telly with the cooking and the thing and the Master Chef and all the other ones? And you said, I'm looking for a date. And then they came together?
Very
No,
good.
Yeah,
No?
close,
One of us
but
is married,
about-
one of us is single, so that was close.
Yeah, but it was about 6 years later, and we have had a few other projects before that. So
Right.
we both love dating shows and we both love cooking shows, and we thought, what better way to kind of combine those loves
it
than
together.
put them together?
Which you very successfully have done. And the whole series has been running on Channel 44 here in South Australia and 31 in Melbourne. And you've only got one more episode in this current run.
Yep.
And it's proven to be extremely popular. So I would suggest that someone's going to say, hey, can you make another 6 episodes?
From your lips, Malcolm, hopefully.
That would be fun.
It would be great fun. Yeah.
But not only that, you actually created something quite unique, and which I really loved. I watched the very first episode, so I've seen it all, and I was really impressed the way you used the studio, because most of these things pretend that they're in whatever they're in, whatever they're supposed to be.
Because we're in New York.
Yes,
Yeah,
but of course
loft in New
we're
York.
not. We're in a studio somewhere, or we're in a specially built room, whatever. But what's lovely about it is you can see the light boxes, and you can see the
crew,
cameras, and you can see, oh, that's going to happen there in this kitchen set, and that's going to happen there. And the little end thing with writing the letters and all that to each other, I love that. And then cooking the dessert.
That was a conscious decision to do that.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's really good. I mean, because, of course, we're in my palatial home here, but it's good because the public can actually see how this thing comes together. And also you can see that it's not just the people in front of the cameras. There's lots of other people working on these sorts of things, particularly if you read the crawl at the end. The other thing, sorry, I'm going on a bit about all this, but I loved your graphics and the animation that you've put into the program.
Well, that's so nice of you to say that.
Well,
because
no, I really did like it.
that is my son's girlfriend, Jessica,
Well-
who created all the graphics. She worked for 10 years for CNBC, I think it was, in London, doing the kind of the motion graphics that you would see on election night or something,
Right.
So
yes,
this
I never
is
thought that's actually what they are, isn't it?
yeah. So she loved doing something that was completely.
Did she do it here or over there?
No, she's in Melbourne now. They live in Melbourne, so she did it from Melbourne. Yeah.
Right.
We thought she did a beautiful job.
Unbelievable job.
Yeah.
Well, they really are. And they elevate the program from just a studio program to, a really nice TV visual thing to watch. Yeah, I loved all that. So what do you, well, before we go to a break, there is some good news about the program, apart from making new episodes, which we've all got our fingers crossed for you for. You've moved worldwide.
We have signed a sales agreement for the show to be sold essentially internationally for the 6 episodes that we've already shot, plus the idea itself, the format itself. So fingers crossed we'll see Recipe for Love Brazil or Recipe for Love Sweden at some point. Croatia.
That'd
Whoever.
be nice. Yes.
Yeah, in the future.
Yes. Well, can't wait. Well, you'll have to wait a minute because we're going to take a short break. See you in a tick. Our special guests on this episode of Our Time are Marion and Georgia, who are the producers of
Recipe for Love.
Now, how did you find the people? That's the big question. How did you find the people who were desperate for love?
Well, there's 2 answers, I think, to that. The first answer is how did we literally find them?
Yes.
Which was a casting call out via Facebook and social media and going directly to groups because we should say Recipe for Love only features people over the age of 50.
Oh, I couldn't do it. What a shame. I was looking for love. I could do with a good feed. No.
And then how did we find them? We found them courageous, brave, fun.
Yes.
They were delightful.
Yes, they are all delightful.
Yeah.
That's absolutely true. Well, look, we're going to show you a couple of the people who are on the episode that follows this program here in South Australia, and at C31 in Melbourne, you'll just have to check. Oh, it's
7:30.
7:30.
Yeah, Monday
nights.
Yeah.
To check out the program then. Now, here are the guests who are there this week.
I could not care less about food. Really, it's one of the lowest things on my priorities. If I could plug in and fill up, I'd do that.
Three loves in life: coffee, wine, and let's go for the men.
I won't tell you all the mistakes we made when we were doing this.
Oh, yes, we will.
You can't tell us who was the chosen two?
No,
we'll just
that gives the game away,
have
Malcolm.
to watch the program 7:30 in Melbourne and after this program here in South Australia. Now, apart from finding people with the right sort of personalities, did you go through sort of a process to find them? Like, did they have to come in for an audition? Did they have to pretend they were in love? Did they have to chat somebody up? Did they have to cook?
No, they had to send in their recipes,
Right.
that's for sure. So we knew kind of that there was a story to their recipe because they make a meal with a memory, something that means something to them. So we had to check that. And then really the only kind of audition, as it were, was that we had a Skype talk with them. That was it. And just thought, got a bit more of their personalities.
Well, the truth is, having done the work that you've done in the past, you sort of know, don't you? It sort of jumps out at you. Whilst everybody perhaps would like to be on television, sometimes that happens, doesn't it?
Well,
Yeah,
that's the beauty
it
of doing
does.
almost live.
Yes. Well, it is, yes.
Yeah.
It
It's
is.
fun.
And the other beauty is having family and friends working with you on the program. So tell us what happened there, because that's really interesting.
Well,
You go first.
Well,
Your
right.
side of the family.
the host of the show is my sister, Maria Humphreys.
And she's great.
She is great.
She's
very
really
good.
got an affinity with the people and
She
the
does.
camera. And I mean, you must have seen that. She's got that.
Well, I've worked with Maria before as a director with an actor. She's also
Right.
an actor.
Yep.
And she has this kind of, you won't say this necessarily, you're her sister, but I feel that she has
harsher.
this, yeah, you're harsher.
She's got bad breath in the morning. That's what you would have said.
No, she doesn't actually. That's
She has innate charm,
She does.
She
really does.
She really does.
She's got a real future, I think, if she continues to work within the industry.
She was great, yeah.
And who else worked on? Because we've just discovered. with the
Well, let's see.
graphics.
Maria, your sister, your uncle, was construction.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, Uncle John.
Yep.
My husband was the COVID safety officer, taking our
Right.
temperature every day. Who else was family?
Your daughter-in-law.
Oh, yeah, Jessica.
Yep.
Yeah, Jessica who did the graphics. Do we
That's
have
about
any
it.
other family?
No, that's about it.
Yeah.
But you got people from other avenues as well, because you got a grant to do this.
Yes.
So how did that happen, and where did they come from?
Well, Mercury CX, which is the centre in Adelaide for the emerging sector, I guess you would say, and Channel 44, community television, ran a format lab as an adjunct to the Screenmakers Conference, which is a conference that happens in Adelaide every year, where all aspects of the industry are discussed and talked about, and same thing, isn't it? Discussed and
Not
talked about.
everything gets up. You know, you can have a great idea, but you've got to still sell that idea.
Well, there was literally a competition because we'd
Right.
gone to this lab where you could put in an idea, and then there were judges who chose which idea would get the funding to make the pilot episode. It was supposed to be one episode, but Georgia said, go big or go home, let's make 6. So I thought, yeah, okay.
Do you know that's true? Because I think with a single pilot, it's really hard to
Yeah.
say, can you keep this up? You know, can you find the people that are interesting enough?
Yeah.
Can you see that flow through with an audience that feels, oh, I really like that person too, or I think they should be a couple in this particular case?
We found it hard enough with choosing the 18 participants for the 6 episodes. We would have found it impossible to choose 3 just for one episode.
Exactly,
you know?
yes. And also the recipes, because the fact that, you know, you put them up on the screen so you know that people can do that as well at home if they're taken by that.
We love the recipes because, as Georgia said earlier, because it's a meal with the memory and recipes they know, and everybody's over 50, there's these kind of, not old-fashioned, but food that perhaps isn't as trendy now.
Yeah.
And so there are things like golden syrup dumplings. And
Love golden syrup dumplings.
doesn't
My
love a
mum used to
dumpling?
make them all the time.
Exactly.
They were a favourite.
Yeah.
With whipped cream.
Well,
that
the
came
crew-
from boiled milk, fresh milk.
Yeah,
Very
perfect.
nice.
Yes.
The crew were like vultures afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh,
Be like,
hey, isn't that the truth? What the public don't realise is on all of these cooking shows and things, the food goes off that fast, but it isn't the people that are supposed to be eating it usually.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. Hungry crew. Anybody hungry here
Yes.
tonight?
You've got a lovely crew, by the way.
We have.
Yes.
We really have.
Yogi and Indigo
Yes,
and
what a good memory.
Alana
Yes.
and Andre.
And he's the studio manager.
Patrick did the sound.
Yes.
Yes,
And
fabulous.
Yogi on camera there.
Yes,
My camera.
lovely, lovely crew.
It actually is. Do you know, in all the years we've been doing this, and it's 10 years we've been making this program, we've always had this lovely family feel with people. And I think, as you would both appreciate, if you don't have everybody working with you, it just doesn't come together.
Very true.
And we've all got to feel like we're participating in the same thing. And, you know, we might be here, but without them, it's not going to happen. And that's actually a really important lesson for performers to learn early in the piece. Now, you've worked with some very famous people, and I would imagine they probably took the same attitude. Let's get to know everybody that we're working with, because they're the ones shooting you.
Yeah, and from my experience, I found the more famous they were, the more generous they were in that. I don't know why, but incredibly generous given their, you know, status.
Look, I think it's part of being a professional at anything you do. You appreciate that you're not the only one doing this. You know, it's not all about me, me, me. However, getting back to you.
Yes, please get back to us.
Yes, getting back to you. So, have you got other programs in the pipeline? Sitting in the corner table, are you thinking, now we've put our foot in the water with a big stamp, what do we do next? Or do you want to just keep working on this project?
Well, we always have stuff in the pipeline, don't we?
Yeah.
So features and television series. We have a slate of projects that we work on.
Do you feel with
Continuously.
the COVID issue that's going around the world, we're incredibly lucky in this country to be sort of virtually COVID free?
Yeah.
Well, probably the way the future's going to be, without trying to make a prediction, that there's going to be outbreaks, but the government's been fortunately able to control it right from the beginning, unlike other countries. Do you feel that this country could now become more a centre of production? It's the one thing, certainly here in Adelaide with the Film Corporation, is being muted. And I know we hear, oh, well, you know, the professionals aren't here to do the work. But in reality, they actually are. Look at you. Look at you.
They definitely are. There's so many great crew here. And I think absolutely, South Australia especially will be a place where is very enticing for overseas productions and even for other Australian producers to come and work here as well.
Well, really both for Melbourne and for here. We've got so much diversity so close to the capital cities. So with things not being so much shot in studios. And actually I thought that was very brave of you to get the studio look. And I know you shot it in the ABC studios and they did you a favour. What did they do?
Channel 44, who provided us with the ABC studios, that's where they're based, they just literally cleared out the studio, didn't they? Just made it brand spanking new. It was gorgeous studio to work in. It was fantastic. And we had green rooms and, well, everything that you need to make a
Great
proper production.
facilities.
Great facilities.
Well, the ABC here, I think, is the last big studio apart from where we are right now.
Really?
In South Australia, which is absolutely extraordinary, considering that this program is the last of the sort of chat shows in Adelaide where local people can actually come and talk about whatever they've been doing, you know, which is for us pretty amazing, actually.
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
And today is your, I mean, you told me this before, your 400th
My
show.
personal 400th show.
incredible.
I started doing this show.
I'm doing snaps for that, Georgia. Yeah, snaps for the 400.
Oh, snaps to the 400.
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
Elbow bumps and all that. No, hang on. I'll tell you in a tick because we've got to take another break in a tick. Marion and Georgia are our special guests, and Marion, you were just saying my 400th episode, which it actually is.
It's amazing.
I started doing this program on the 39th episode, and this is our 439th episode, and we're in our 11th year of making the program. But one of the things that's really important to us, and I think it should be very important to our community, both here in South Australia and in Victoria, is that the government has the intention of closing this wave band down, which means that these programs that can encourage young people starting off in the business and old people winding down from the business, but it gives us a platform to do exactly what we're doing right now. But it also gives our crews, not just here, of course, but across the states, it gives them the opportunity to get into television and to have their program put to air.
Yeah.
And for me, Janice Baker was my co-host for almost all of those 10 years, or almost all of those programs. And Janice has sort of had to stay away because of the COVID situation and her family. But for all of the people that have worked on our crew, and there's been about 50 or 60 people that have been behind the cameras, producers, directors, and guests. We've had well over 1,400 guests on the program, you know, telling their stories as you have in this one. So it's really important for us to have this ability to have a voice like this. And it's all very fine to say, well, go online. But as you're doing a program for the 50 pluses, not all 50 pluses want to go online, and we don't all want to pay for what we see. This is free to air and available to everybody.
Yeah.
It's been lovely talking to you. I really hope that you get another series of this and go on to make a whole lot more, become the production dynamos of South Australia in the future.
Thank you, Malcolm.
Of the world. And I hope the show goes well wherever else it...
You'll be on it if we get another season, right?
Oh, okay. Will I get picked? I'm not coming on if I don't get picked. Listen, it's been great to have your company and your company in this episode of Our Time. So until next time we meet, keep yourselves nice till then. See you soon. And here's what's going to happen tonight. Next time on Our Time, two very different stories from the History Trust of South Australia.
Kathy Bakich, Centre Director, Adelaide Holocaust Museum.
Talking about the museum that's new And we're also talking with a man who has lived without shelter.
I'm Terence Connellan, a narrative therapist who interviews individuals who have previously lived without shelter.
That's next time on Our Time, All We Need Is You.